It's another Bible study. Today, y'all. All right, I'm super excited about coming forward with a thought-provoking Bible study for you today. Today's Bible study, we will be speaking out of the book of Ezekiel, and we will be speaking out of Ezekiel chapter 7, verse 20 through 24, and then we're going to skip over to chapter 8, verse 7 through 12. All right, you guys. Let's just invoke the Spirit of God to assist me in the discernment of God's word. Heavenly Father and Mother, I come before you in love, looking for you. Cover me with your love and attention, please. Move within this space and protect this space. Remove this space from all that does not serve me for my greatest good, and that does not magnify the truth of your word. Bind them and remove them from this place. Fortify yourself within me. Cover me with your love. Use me as your vessel to convey your message to the children today. I love you so deeply. I look for you in all of my activities in this life. Stay close. Come quickly when I call. In love, I come before you. In God's name I pray, amen. All right, y'all. Okay, so today we are going to be reading out of the book of Ezekiel, chapter 7, verse 20 through 24, okay? As for the beauty of his ornament, he set it in majesty, but they made the images of their abominations and of their detestable things therein. Therefore have I set it far from them. And I will give it into hands of the strangers for a prey, and to the wicked of the earth for a spoil, and they shall pollute it. I'll read that again. And I will give it into the hands of the strangers for a prey, and to the wicked of the earth for a spoil, and they shall pollute it. My face will I turn also from them, and they shall pollute my secret place, for the robbers shall enter into it and defile it. Make a chain, for the land is full of bloody crimes, and the city is full of violence. Wherefore I will bring the worst of the heathen, and they shall possess their houses. I will also make the pomp of the strong to cease, and their holy places shall be defiled. Chapter 8, verse 7. And he brought me to the door of the court, and when I looked, behold, a hole in the wall. Then said he unto me, Son of man, dig now in the wall. And when I had digged in the wall, behold, a door. And he said unto me, Go in, and behold the wicked abominations that they do here. So I went in and saw, and behold, every form of creeping things and abominable beasts, and all the idols of the house of Israel, portrayed upon the wall round about. And there stood before them 70 men of the ancients of the house of Israel. And in the midst of them stood Jaazaniah, the son of Shaphan, with every man his censer in his hand, and a thick cloud of incense went up. Then said he unto me, Son of man, hast thou seen what the ancients of the house of Israel do in the dark, every man in the chamber of his imagery? For they say, The Lord seeth us not, the Lord hath forsaken the earth. All right, y'all. So, we're in the book of Ezekiel, and Ezekiel sees a vision of angels of God come down, and they are leading him to do his work in the world, to do their work through him in the world. And Israel, of course, has fallen, and they are in transgression as usual. They are happy in the transgressive state that they're in. They've gotten accustomed to it. They've been in a transgressive state generation after generation, and it's become normal for them. And so the glory of the Lord has come down from heaven in a manifestation, and he is speaking to Ezekiel. And he's telling Ezekiel to go before the children and to perform these, to speak these certain words to the children. And he's showing Ezekiel, he's giving the children another out. He's saying, go before them and speak these things to them. And if you don't speak these things to them the way I tell you to, you're going to inherit the weight of their crimes too. So he's making sure, God is making sure that Ezekiel goes before these children and get their attention and put it in their ears and in their minds what God is telling them. How more can God show or make Ezekiel be thorough enough in his activities and to bind him to the results of what may befall the children if he does not do what God tells him to do. This is the wisdom of God. Very simple, yet very effective. And because he knows these children are rebellious children, they don't, it's beyond speaking to at this point. We've been through this so many times that it's just not, it's just beyond it. Just beyond even breaking it down. We already know these children are rebellious children. And these children are at a place right now where they are doing things in secret. So they're saying one thing out in the open, but in secret, they are doing something completely different. Or they look like they are in alignment. They're doing the things that those that are in alignment with God do, but their heart is meditating on things that are wicked. They've been traumatized. They've been exposed to something, most likely through trauma. Because that's how you begin to meditate on wicked stuff. You don't just meditate. You don't ever get to a place where you begin to let the wicked thoughts or the devious thoughts or the resentful thoughts of retribution, thoughts of inflicting pain on someone that, that has harmed you. You don't get to those places without having experienced some sort of trauma. And this is what God is saying. In this text, God is saying, that I've seen these children's secret thoughts. And I've not only seen their thoughts, I've seen the actions that they've taken by way of their thoughts. And yes, he's holding these children accountable to their actions. But let me tell you something about having thoughts, friend. I'm speaking just for myself. I have been in situations where I experienced trauma by way of, whether it was betrayal, whether it was pain inflicted upon me by someone that mistreated me, that I trusted and I didn't expect them to do such a thing, and the shock of them doing things like that were traumatic to me, traumatized me. I've experienced pain in the form of, being attacked, physically attacked at, one time or another throughout my life. And I felt angry, resentful, all of that. Because of it, I felt feelings of loss because I've taken a financial L or some kind of a loss from someone that I was either good to or didn't feel worthy of taking that loss from, and it made me feel resentful. All of these types of situations foster trauma. They bring trauma upon a person. And that trauma opens the mind up to all of these types of thoughts. Thoughts of wickedness, thoughts of retribution, thoughts of resentfulness, because that's how we're set up. We are made that way. These are not things that come upon us that we have to really search for and look and work hard to conjure. They come by default. And this is what God is saying in the text. God is saying so much has gone on amongst these children. They done seen too much. They have been through too much generationally, to the point that the meditation of their heart is wicked. Primarily by way of the information that they've gotten through the fallen ones, the tools of the weapons of war, the information that you've gotten in creating things for good and for bad, because you didn't have that information in the beginning. But now that you've been exposed to that information without the right guidance, this is why it was such a big deal about the fallen ones giving them this information. They gave them this information and they didn't give them the guidance on how to handle it. So all hell broke loose. You got people making monsters. So I sat in verse 10, chapter 8. So I sat in and saw, and behold, every form of creeping things and abominable beasts, and all the idols of the house of Israel portrayed upon the wall round about. And there stood before them 70 men of the angels of the house of Israel. He's speaking to the culmination of things, where they are. And if you've ever been in a traumatic experience, if you've ever come out of some stuff that you felt you were not deserving of, whether you felt like you were being attacked, whether you felt like you were being mistreated, stalked, or whatever you want to call it, but boundaries completely overstepped by people, disrespected, disregarded, whether you feel like you have taken a financial loss from somebody, or because of somebody, or because of being a friend or in a relationship with someone, whether you got a divorce and you now you're stuck with the financial liability and the breakup of the money, you feel resentful, friend. You get angry. You want retribution. You want someone to lobby on your behalf. So the mind, and if you don't have that, if you don't have any retribution or anyone to lobby on your behalf, or anyone to smooth the rough edges of that thing over, or anything new that you can fall into that is of happiness or of the opposite temperament of that thing you've just come out of, you will begin to meditate on the wickedness. And a lot of times we condemn one another of it. But a lot of times the ones that's condemning be the ones perpetuating the wickedness. It's trauma. And it's a natural defense for the body, the mind, to go into this state of, if you don't control it, if you don't have an outlet to control it, if you're not, even if you align with the word of God, even if you do, because I align with God and I can't even front. I have wrestled with this. You do me something, it takes me a while to heal from it. Because I'm not out here doing people dirty. I don't do people any kind of way. So when it comes to me, it makes me feel as if I've been attacked. And in my mind, I want to see myself victorious. I imagine myself victorious in that place. Whether it's, physically defending myself and being victorious, or scenarios in an office setting where I prevailed, and you know what I'm talking about, all that kind of stuff. We meditate on that because it feels good. But that is not our nature. And before you know it, you done meditated on that thing 6 months out of the year. Sometimes a whole year, sometimes years. Sometimes you'll go so long in that becomes your whole meditation. If God doesn't send you a vessel, if God doesn't lay it upon you or lay a spirit upon you to wake you from that, it's like a trance. And this is what God is saying. He's saying that they have taken the information that I have reset this planet and reset situations so many times up till now to prevent, to wipe away from their mind, to erase from their mind. They have taken that information and conjured it time and time again. And here we are again with these wicked thoughts, with these wicked actions, with these worshiping idols. How many times has God tried to wipe it? Well, we can go back to Adam and Eve when he kicked them out of the garden for the first sin. After they got the knowledge and they were kicked out. Noah, he flooded the world. Left only, 8 people? The people that were on the boat. That didn't purge it. It came back again. Even when Moses took the children. And he punished them while they were in the wilderness. That didn't purge it. When Joshua, same way when Joshua with the punishing the children with Joshua. And then this man in linen, in the text, a man in linen comes and he's an angel of God, and he comes upon the children of Israel, and he walks amongst the people, and he says, God tells him to find the righteous and those that need assistance in overcoming the wicked ones, the ones that are being persecuted by the wicked ones. Go to them. And I believe he said put a mark on them or put a mark on the wicked ones. Can't remember. But either way, mark one or the other one so you can distinguish between the two. Because you're going to get rid of these wicked ones. And you're going to leave the righteous. And that led me to my thought. God knows that once you put a thought in the mind, the only way to really purge it from the mind completely is through time and experience. It's a numbers game. The more experiences you put in there that are of the opposite of that thing throughout a long period of time is what purges it. It pushes it back to the furthest recesses of the mind. So this is why God is constantly resetting it. He knows he's not going to be able to purge it indefinitely because it's just like creating energy. You cannot destroy energy. It just transforms itself from one state to the next. Yet if you can leave it in a dormant state for an extended amount of time, it can then be transformed. But if you keep reviving it, resurrecting it, it will stay in its state. And this is why God is looking to reset, to give it some time to go into a dormant state. But the children keep resurrecting it, or the enemy. Somebody is. I want to say it's the enemy. And the children are buying in on it. So God knows he cannot completely abolish these wicked tendencies, the memory of creating these things for wickedness. He can't abolish them. But what he can do is minimize the head count. He can say, okay, there's way more wickedness going on than goodness and righteousness. Let's lessen the head count. Let's lessen the head count of the wickedness so that the righteous can live in peace. Because this was the problem all along, from Noah all the way now to Ezekiel. The wickedness was prevailing. The wickedness had been magnified. This was the reason for the flood. This is the reason for the wilderness, walking in the wilderness. This is the reason for and the linen man walking in linen. So these children they're in a state of it's just wickedness. The imaginations of the mind is all wickedness. It's all perverse. It's the lower self. It's this lower lustful nature of self that is prevailing. They're using, and I don't want to go all into it because I can go into detail on it, things that are not really bound in this book, but they were doing all kind of stuff, sexual, immortal stuff. I mean, it was a lot. It was a lot. And like it is written in the Bible. The Bible doesn't go deep into it, and I haven't cross-referenced the Apocrypha with this today. But it speaks in general that they had been, they made images of these things, and they began idolizing and worshiping them, speaking life into them, animating them with the Spirit of God that is within them, and using it to animate these outward expressions that they created with the mind. So, you know, this was a weird Bible study today, y'all. I really wasn't, you know, I have my own struggles that I wrestle with, and I come on and I do my Bible studies because I really enjoy them. And all of this is just really an expression of God moving. But, you know, there's so many aspects to God that we ourselves don't really know. Even people that read and ponder God and meditate on God often, they don't know. I mean, God is so vast and he moves in such a peculiar way, you never know. And because there's so much confusion, friends, the enemy is an imposter. And the enemy is hell-bent on turning the children. So much so that just your love and fascination for God puts a bullseye on your back. It does. You don't have to do nothing outside of that and stand for something. Them two, that'll do it for you. But if you were really, if you weren't really grounded, if you was okay with everything, if you didn't really have anything you stood for or were passionate about, it wouldn't be the same scenario. And it makes you wonder, you know, God, like I said, God is, the wrestling of God is where you find God and you learn the nature of God. I really wish I knew. I really do. I really do. Because I don't, and I'm tired of it. Just tired of it. I wish I could not care. Because right now I really don't want to care. It costs too much to care. In a world that it don't seem like nobody care. Nobody don't care. It's exhausting and it's frustrating. And I'm tired of it. I had enough. I didn't come this far in life to go through this. They can have it. I'm serious. If God wants his children to do and to be, God will make a way for them. They shouldn't have to fight to get it done. I'm tired. I'm tired of it. It's not my fight. It's not. To be thrown around and bounced around like this. I'm tired of it, y'all. Fuck it. Tired. And take the joy out of life. Taking the joy out of my life.